All right. We should be live and direct. What's up, family? How you guys doing? It's your man Orville J. Parker, aka Coach Guys. All right, welcome to today's vlog, man. Up early, couldn't sleep last night, man. Right now it's 3:40 a.m. Went to bed early, man. Usually here recently, man, when I jump into bed, I've been getting a solid 5 to 6 hours, and then I usually nap for like another couple of hours throughout the day. And I usually end up with about 7 hours worth of sleep. But here last night, man, I don't know if it was what I ate because I'm feeling it in my stomach. Some, you know how you have like acid reflux, and I don't know, but something kept me tossing and turning last night. I think part of it was I got too hot too, man. My wife, she picked up this. We bought this new spread, man, and this thing is, when I tell you this thing is cozy, warm, and it's kind of heavy. So it kind of prevents me from tossing and turning a lot. But what I did was last night, since it was so warm, I only had it half cover my body, not my top body. And so I kept moving around last night. And usually when I'm tossing and turning is when I wake up throughout the night. And then that whole insomnia thing kicks in once once I stay up too much, my mind starts going and I go ahead and get up, man, and I'm up. Yep. So I'm up. So what I usually do is I usually get up. I'll come down here to the office and I'll start working on some creative stuff because I seem to have, um, the morning time seems to be the best for my creativity. So I'll jump up and I'll come down here. I'll shoot some video content and I'll start working on some of the projects I got to work on for that day. And yeah, and that's what I usually do. So your boy's up and at it this morning. All right, guys. So what I wanted to do today was I wanted to kind of share with you guys what my business model looks like and what I'm doing here. I had somebody ask me this the other day, and pretty much, if you wanted to sum up what my main business is, I'm a researcher and a publisher. And it took me a couple years, guys, to really get to that point to where I was really clear on what I was doing. For the longest, I had always knew that I loved researching. I love, man, getting in, going deep on a subject, being able to gather all the data and then take the data and then look at it and be able to learn certain things from the data. And then I love turning around talking to people about what I discovered. And in my case, man, one of the things I've had a passion for years, ever since I was younger, man, I've loved researching and reading about how people go out here and generate income outside of normal channels. Okay. And so I was the kid, man, that used to buy all the business opportunity magazines, all the business magazines. And I would love to go in and read and hear people's stories and stuff and be exposed to information, man, that I wasn't exposed to in my environment. Right. And as I started getting older, I started ordering things out the back of these magazines. Like if you remember when you open these magazines up, man, they would have a ton of classified ads in the back. And man, I would take the because a lot of them used to be able to just send like a couple of stamps in a envelope, and they would send you out some information, which would usually be like a report or a sales letter. And some of them I would just directly buy. And I remember the one that literally sparked this for me. And guys, when I even think about this, I hate that I waited so long to do this, but I'm doing it. But anyway, I remember ordering and I can't remember who the person was, but I remember ordering let's consider it was a bundle. It was about 2 to 3 books that came in this bundle. And the guy was telling you how to become a publisher, right? And he was explaining how he ran a newsletter and a publishing company all through direct mail and how he was making all this money living in this tropical area, right? And I remember doing research on the guy, and I got his stuff, and I did research on him, and the guy pretty much checked out from what I could see. And the guy's content was crazy. But I remember that he gave you the resale rights to these guides that he gave you. And so you literally could take these guides to your print shop, have them printed out, and then you could sell these guides as single reports, or you could sell them as a bundle through direct mail. And it was really cool because it was my first time being introduced to what we call reselling now, where you could purchase the rights to resell a product that somebody else created. And man, I thought that was the coolest thing because here I was like, man, first of all, nobody I knew was making money like this. All right. Second of all, at this time, the internet wasn't even out, man. So I was like, man, so there's this whole world of people that are buying mailing lists. All right. And they're marketing directly to that list and selling product like this to that list. And then I said, and this guy, he's giving me literally like a business in a box because not only did he explain to me this whole business model, but then he gave me some products to be able to sell that I didn't have to create. And yeah, and that was revolutionary. And so that started a real deep journey on just buying things and research. And you know the crazy thing, and this is what I tell everybody, and this is where I missed it all my life, right? And it took me till I got older, like I'm talking about like in the last couple of years to really realize it. You know, I would go out here and I would research or I would discover information about certain business models. And then since I knew the information about the business models, I was like, okay, well, I need to launch the business. And what was crazy is I didn't realize at the time that I didn't really have an interest in running that business. Sometimes I wanted to see and validate the idea, but I only thought I should do it because now I knew how to do it, right? And I didn't really understand that concept of what he was talking about was becoming a researcher and a publisher, right? And if I would have been able to in a sense clarify what I know now a long time ago, man, I would have jumped into the whole research publishing business a long time ago. Because as a researcher and a publisher, what you're doing is you're going out and you are researching a certain thing, right? A certain strategy, a certain process, or how something is done, or what was done. And then you're bringing the information back and you're analyzing the data, you're analyzing the information. And then what you're doing is, in a sense, you're taking what you got and you're saying, okay, well, let me compile this into some type of product or some type of publication that I can make available either for free or for a fee for paid, right? And so that's a whole nother process, learning how to take the information you get and how to put it together in a way to where when you give it to somebody, they are able to experience that research, all right, in a way to where they are more educated. Hopefully, they have an idea of how to go about the process of doing it. And then, depending on what type of research you do, like with most of my guides that I do now, I even give them the frameworks and the blueprints that others are using out there to do it. Now, this saves people a lot of time and a lot of money because, first of all, with a lot of stuff that I'm publishing and how I'm publishing it, a lot of people wouldn't come into contact with this information. They might hear about certain things vaguely or from a distance. Hold on 1 minute, guys. Hold on 1 minute. Uh, All right, sorry about that. Yeah, they may hear about something vaguely or something very general, but a lot of times, what the kind of information that I'm sharing in my guide in the depths, a lot of people wouldn't be able to get exposed to that. You know, even with today, when you think about, you have a lot of things out there such as YouTube and things like that. You still have to know how to research in order to be able to get exposed to the level of information that you really need to do something. And over the years, man, I just kept telling myself, I was like, man, I love to read and I love to discover things. And the things that I read and discovered, man, I was always like, man, I need to create a newsletter or a podcast or something where I can start sharing a lot of this information. But this was the thing about that. And over the years I've learned, I used to always be hesitant on it because I was like, okay, I want to monetize what I'm doing. And I knew to a degree to how to do it. But I'm gonna tell you what the thing was that was holding me back for years. And it's crazy how AI has allowed for me to overcome the thing that was holding me back, the setbacks, right? And it was sitting down and compiling it. I didn't think that my grammar was correct enough. I didn't think that I knew how to write in a way to where things would flow the correct way and people would be able to understand the information the way that it needed to be understood. And it wasn't until now guys, you got to realize, even 3 or 4 years ago, I was thinking about this, but it wasn't until I started working with AI that I finally found a way to be able to do what I didn't feel I could do all these years. And see, that was my main hindrance back then. I didn't know how to sit down and write something. I had bought courses on how to do reports and do ebooks and things like that. And even how to make courses. But man, just getting myself to sit down and do that was like, man, I couldn't do it. And so for all these years, I walked around with all this information and I would share it with people, but I never used it because I'm gonna tell you why. Like I said, I didn't want to do what I was learning. A few things I did, but most things I didn't. I didn't want to do what I was learning. Sometimes I felt I should do it because it was such a good idea and it could be lucrative and I needed the money at the time, but I didn't want to do it. And I didn't really realize and sync with the fact then that I was more of a researcher and a publisher. I was excited about learning the information and then being able to share that with somebody who wanted that information, who wanted to do that thing. And so as I started studying publishing and I started looking at what a publisher was, it started that vision that I had for for a company started materializing more. And so then when AI came around, man, and I started using AI and I'm working with AI, I said, okay, so AI could literally give me that other thing that I needed and give it to me on steroids. And so once I figured that out, man, it was a wrap. It was a wrap. So probably about a year and a half ago, when all this came to light, and it was crazy because when I first started working with I wasn't even thinking about using AI in the way I'm using it now. I was having the AI teach me how to go about doing what I was trying to do with some software. And it was crazy because as we were doing with the software, the AI was teaching me about things. And I started picking up on that. And and so when we got done, and I got done working on that software and trying to figure that software out, I looked back at all the conversations me and the AI had and all the information I was able to extract out of it. And I said, man, this technology has literally went in and it was doing what I asked it to do. So that was one thing. It was compiling, it was working on things, but then it was educating me. And so when I left the software alone, I started playing with the idea of creating some training based off some things I knew. And that started me down the process of learning how to leverage AI as a potential publisher. And man, so I just spent the last year and a half really working, learning, doing, and figuring out how to actually research, compile, and then present information the way that I wanted to present it all these years in a way to where I could do it now. And I could do it in a way, man, to where it's very powerful. It's very powerful. And yeah, it's good. And so when I figured all this out, man, this year, and we went through and I went through the process of just doing everything, man, researching. We gathered data, we looked at it, learned how to analyze it, learned how to compile it, and turned it into finished products. Man, when I saw the first project get finished, I was like, okay, this is a wrap. Game over, man. Game over. This is the thing right here. And I'm gonna kind of even share something with you guys. You guys know I do like the product reviews and I do the TikTok shop affiliate program with the whole social commerce thing. What you guys might not know is that that's not a business per se in itself. The reason why I'm doing that is because I wanted to have more of an inside knowledge on how that business model worked for my publications and my trainings that we were going to create. My intention has never been and still isn't to go out and make a lot of money with that. You know, when I'm ordering a product, when I'm reviewing, when I'm doing the things that I'm doing, I am literally doing that so that I can understand and be that close to the process so I could take that information back and make my guides better. All right. I knew I wanted to come out with this guide around that. Now, if I make some money from doing it, yeah. If I pay for some of the equipment that are and the gadgets and the things that I'm ordering, yeah. But that's not my ultimate goal is to be a product reviewer. My ultimate goal is I'm a publisher, right? I'm a publisher and just so happened one of the flagship things that I wanted to publish in 2025 was a guide around the whole social commerce industry. And also, you remember the first one I did was launch the Content Creators Blueprint. And the first one was around how anybody can create content and monetize that. And that was all with the precursor of gathering the data and doing the research for those two specific things. And so, yeah, so I kind of want to bring that to you guys and let if you want to know what I'm doing, I am a researcher and I am a publisher. And the things that I'm creating as far as my research guides, we're going to sell those digitally online in ebook format. Later on, we're going to sell some in video format. And then we also are selling the printed version of the research. And let me show you guys. Like here is just a sample of the social commerce playbook here. All right. Now, this is 77 pages here. All right. Now, this is the first version of this right here. I have a new version that I'm finishing up with that right now. It looks like it's going to be right around 200 pages when I'm done. And and then we have another training that we did some research compiled after that. So that's going to be a 3 guide bundle. Okay. Now the cool thing about what I do is I'm selling it digitally, right? So that means if I never wanted to do anything physical, I can sell it digitally all day long. And once you create it, and that's one thing. Once I do the research and I create the guide, I could sell that forever. Okay. And if I ever want to update it or add to it, it's easy because it's digital. But now my customers, we give it to them in PDF and EPUB format. So in the PDF format, they literally could print out a page, a chapter, or the whole ebook at their home, and they could staple or three ring bind it, or do it like I did, and they have their own ebook, but on physical copy of the book. But one of the things I'm playing with now is how to sell them physical copies right off the bat. And so that means that it might be a higher price point for the products. And that's something we're playing with. But we are going to be selling physical copies and digital copies of our guides and our research. Okay. So yeah, so that's it there. That's it in a nutshell. Without going too deeper on that, I'm a researcher and a publisher. Okay. And if you see me doing anything out here outside of this over the last couple of years, it was pretty much for a research standpoint. I was trying to see how something would work and what that process looked like from trying to do that particular thing. But it wasn't like I was ever sitting there and said, "Okay, well, I want to do this and I want to do that." Nah, I've been actually working on this right here for a while, but in the last year and a half, I've just been able to do it. And guys, it's been fun. I am very happy with 2025. It's kind of like I went to university. Kind of like I went and got a 4 or 5 year degree in 1 year because I sat and focused so much this year, and I learned so much, and we done so much, to where now, you know, all this is like second nature to us. I'm gonna tell you where my biggest bottleneck is right now. My biggest bottleneck is that I trained the AI to help with all the research, to gather the data, to go out and look at the trends, gather the data, bring it back, analyze the data. We extract what we need to extract out of it. We learn what we need to take out, how to compile it, and do all this. That was good. I know how to put together the mechanisms to be able to sell the research, the websites, the e-commerce stores, the funnels, things like that. And we got all that in play. We're working on that. But the problem I'm having now is that I got a lot of this research and I'm having to format it into ebook form. Okay. And when you do that, things have to look a certain way and flow a certain way. Certain things have to be bold, certain things have to be italicized, things have to be laid out a certain way. Now, as I go back and I'm trying to compile ebooks off of the stuff that we created, I have this, I have this, I have this huge um, archive of all this raw training. And so it's taken me a long time to copy and paste it into the software, lay it out, and format it. And that's where my biggest bottleneck is at this for 2025. So one of the things I'm looking at this year is I've played with some other AI that can lay things out and format and compile. That could take information data and turn it more into like a report or an ebook. And so I'm gonna be looking this year at different AI for that, or I might even build out a custom, what I call a custom agent that does this for me according to my criteria. All right, then that way I don't have to do what I'm doing. It could do most of it, and then I just have to go back, or somebody else that works for me go back and just make sure when they read through it that everything is set up the proper way. But maybe if we can get 70 or 80% of this done so I don't have to do it, then I could bang things out a lot faster. And by me being a one person business right now, everything I do is either me or AI. So even like I could probably train my AI on how to do this. I just don't have the time to focus on that right now. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna spend the next couple of months of just sitting here and just getting all these guides compiled and getting them added to our publishing site. And then while I'm doing that, we're gonna be marketing the first flagship product, which is the social commerce playbook. And so we'll be marketing that, and hopefully that'll be generating revenue for the company while I'm getting all these other guides compiled. And then what I'm gonna do is in 2026, I'm gonna build out the AI agents and team members to be able to do all this for me. Okay, so I don't have to sit around and edit on this level, or sit around and compile it like I'm doing. Okay, but yeah, so that's what we're doing. And man, I'm excited because in 2026, man, I'm gonna be going deep into some really really good information, man. I'm gonna be getting out there and I'm going to be researching Some really cool things, man. And that's another thing about this business model that I'm gonna get on off here is that it's it's very, if you know how to do the things, or you got technology and AI, and you can leverage it where it doesn't cost you a lot to research and compile, and you could do it fast, which I could do it fast. It gets really interesting on how you go about the process of monetizing it, because you could do so much, and you could do so much that costs so little. And so once a product is made, you got to realize, once I make it and I compile it, it doesn't cost me a whole lot. Like, I'm talking about cents, to be able to deploy that and send that to somebody and sell that to somebody. And so the profit margins are huge on this. And they can get even bigger, because in this particular business model, the value or the cost of a good is all based around the value. And the value could be, you could have something that's 5 pages long that people will pay you $1,000 for. It's because of what they can get out of those 5 pages. If the 5 pages show them how to go out and make $100,000 in their particular business this year, then they will happily pay you 1,000 for that to make 100 grand. And that's the crazy thing about information is that it can have this massive value, but it's a small thing, right? It could be just a 50-page guide that changes somebody's life, man. They get the information, they act upon the information, and now their life has changed. But the other thing is that I believe that it's a good business model to make recurring money, because people will come back to you. First of all, they would pay you to go out and do the legwork for them, so they don't have to do it. All right. But then once it gets going, they would continue paying you for you to keep doing that, keep figuring things out and bringing it to them, so they don't have to spend the time doing it. And then, since it's a learning based business, they would constantly pay you over the years to learn new things, and you can constantly bring them new things. And that's the whole beauty of running a publishing business, man. And so, no, I love it. I love it, love it, love it. We go out, we look at a certain area, say, okay, that looks cool. That's something that I think that people would want to hear and want to know. And then we go out and we pursue it, and we put it together. And so 2026 it's gonna be about me putting together the system, so I don't have to do what I'm telling you guys. That's my bottleneck this year as a researcher and a publisher. Is to roll out our titles, start getting these sold to their specific target markets, and then also just to keep working on some new guides, man. I have a lot of new cool things that I want to go in and research, and for us to be able to compile on. All right. So hopefully you got something from that. So no, what we do here is I'm a researcher and a publisher. And right now I'm doing that under the brand of Modern Frontier Publishing. And basically Frontier is your current limit of your current reality. Like in the old days, people would have their land and stuff, and that would be their land. But then the frontier would be that unknown out there. And so basically that's what we're doing. We're showing you how you can go and how you could tap into that unknown, go past your limits, and get out there and do some really cool things in areas that you would have never done them in. All right. I'll catch you guys on the next vlog. God bless.